We go in and we're sitting in the audience, and there is this silver metallic curtain that is hanging down in front of us.
The silver screen.
So and we spent the first whatever, and she's like, I have to know what that stands for.
Good morning, starting Tuesday off right. Good morning, get ready to take flight. Good morning, talking about the earth things. Good morning, it's me and me from the wings. From the winds.
Hi, I'm Reba Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions. Welcome to this week's episode From the Wings with our special guest star, Jessica Means.
Hi.
We are going to talk about a trip we recently took to New York. So we planned our trip and we were like, okay, so when do we want to go see Smash? And what else do we want to go see? So she picked Smash, and then I picked Lloyd, and then she picked Sunset Boulevard, and then I picked Maybe Happy Ending. Well, actually, I picked it, and then she didn't sound excited about it, and so then she came back to it later and said, how about Maybe Happy Ending? And I was like, that's what I suggested, like, yay.
Well, I thought you were talking about a different one in my brain.
So it's okay. So we're gonna do these in order of how we went to see them. Mm-hmm. And so the first one we went to see is Sunset Boulevard. I don't know if you can read my face, but I was not extremely excited to go at first. It is an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, and I'm kind of hit or miss with him. I like some of the things that he does, and I think they're beautiful, and other ones I'm like,
you don't like
that's
cats.
a little weird. I don't like Cats, even though it's probably in the top 20 musicals of all time. If you listed 20, it would probably be up there, right? Maybe. Anyway, so I think I just didn't know a lot about it, and it just never really captured me, and so I was like, whatever. I was wrong. I was really wrong. So let's just give you some facts about it first, and then we'll hone in on the things that we liked or didn't like about the show. So the musical is based on the 1950 film. The music, obviously, is by Andrew Lloyd Webber. It had his original premiere in London in 1993, and they had a lot of legal issues with it. You said that the person who played it at first was Patti LuPone, and then when it opened in LA, it was Glenn Close, and we think, I don't know how true we are, but we think Patti wanted to play it again, right?
Yeah, I am under the impression that she did not find out she wasn't going to continue on with the role, and she was never actually told. I think she found out in a roundabout way. Yeah. So it's a sensitive subject. Yeah. I saw some interview with her that it's sticking with me.
Yeah. And then we'll come back to Patti in a minute, because I think she also went to see the show and then had a comment about it, right? So we'll tell you in a minute what that is. But instead, this time they cast the brilliant
Nicole Scherzinger.
Where do we know her from?
The Pussycat Dolls.
So those of you who are in that generation. So imagine me, an older woman, I hear that and I was like, well, how good could she be? It's like she's just a pussycat doll. It's like, my kids probably listened because that's your age, right? So it's like, did you listen to the Pussycat Dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe not impressed. Like, it'd be like a boy band group doing it. But I mean, Donny Osmond has done quite well for himself, so maybe it could work, right? And then also their direction that they took on this was a little bit different. And so we knew that going into it, and we knew Nicole was playing it, and we knew that people were saying beautiful things about it. But we go in and we're sitting in the audience, and there is this silver metallic curtain that is hanging down in front of us.
The silver screen.
So and we spent the first whatever, and she's like, I have to know what that stands for. Like, there has to be a thing that it stands for. I mean, and so, I don't know, was it halfway during the Act 1 that you're like, I got it, it's the silver screen? And I was like, Oh, yeah. Because I definitely think every decision that they made in putting this musical together meant something.
The plot is that Norma Desmond was a silent film star, like the perfect face, could act with just her face, right? And then
Old movies, you always, it's known for her eyes.
right. Like
Yes.
that's actually what she
Yes.
wears a turban in the movie a lot.
Yes.
She's like this.
Yeah.
Which it was interesting she never wore a turban. Like it's famous that, Norma
Yes,
Desmond has a
right,
turban.
Right. She pretty well kept her hair long and straight, all the time.
Well, I saw it when they revived it, had to have been like 7 years ago with Glenn Close. I saw that Broadway revival too.
Okay.
And so Glenn always had a turban on.
But she doesn't have the same kind of hair as Nicole does.
No, she does not.
Nicole's hair is beautiful.
Okay, so Norma Desmond was a silent film actress, and now she has aged out of being the beautiful
Like so
ingenue.
many of us do.
Let's sigh. And she is basically hermited herself in her house.
Mansion.
In her gigantic mansion on Sunset Boulevard. And side story is that Joe Gillis is a writer, and he's kind of struggling to find his spot on the set for the movie sets. And he is escaping people he owes money in his car, and his car gets a flat, and then he goes to use Norma Desmond's phone. She finds out he's a writer, and then he needs to work on this thing she's been writing so she could star again as Salome, who's supposed to be how old? Like 14.
14.
Like super young. And then it's kind of, he gets trapped in this like world.
Well, and I think he's a sympathetic character, right? He keeps getting trapped is a great word, because the butler doesn't want him to leave, and she's like, oh, I'll kill myself if you leave, and so he doesn't want that to happen, and the butler is like, no, you don't understand, she needs you, and because of his heart, he says, well, okay, I'll stay a little bit longer, because I think he has feelings, not like love feelings, but he has kindness and empathy towards them.
I think they develop. I think at first it's because he can make money on the deal. But then, I agree.
The reason he doesn't leave, I think, is that. Yeah.
Agreed. So that's really the premise. I don't want to give away the ending. It's kind of famous, the ending, but...
Yeah, don't give it away.
Don't give it away.
I mean, we can maybe at the end when we pause and say, now spoilers are ahead, but we'll see. So anyway, at the very beginning, we walk in and you can see the silver screen that's all ripped because her career is over. And you can see a scrim and you can see behind it. And so there's a little bit of this pre-show, right? And the whole row of us are kind of sitting there going, oh, like, is that part of it? Is there like a mistake? Because I still think it was not a very plain pre-show. But you were seeing enough from the angle and to the side that you could kind of see that there was stuff going on.
I know what she was doing.
What?
Because I follow her on Instagram.
Okay.
So she jumps on a trampoline. Because she says she has so much energy and she doesn't know what to do with it.
And so they wanted to let us
and we
see
that. So while you're sitting there, all the way on stage left, you just see her working out or something, and you're kind of like, what is happening?
What is she doing?
So she's jumping on a trampoline. And then you're also seeing things set up, but it fits with what we'll probably go into next, right? Which is the theming.
Yeah. Right.
Which is seeing the behind the scenes.
Yes.
What's on the screen, but what's behind the screen.
So there's very little set, really. And what is different about this particular production is that they have a lot of cameras that follow them around, and so they're acting very much to us or to the camera. And it's not really a lot of interplay between the two of them, although there is a little bit of that. It's not all, and most of it is somebody's walking around with a camera and then they go up to them, and into the camera to do their thing.
And then behind is this big screen and you see the zoomed in emotions.
Yes, which was fascinating to watch. Yeah. But I will say that it took me a while to kind of get into it because of that. And one of the things that we talked about, as I said, for me personally, I feel like I would have even felt more than I did if I'd been able to see chemistry between them. Like I feel like both of them did an excellent job. I think that we'll talk about how we feel like she did as an actress in a minute, but it's like I got the story. It made me feel something. Can you imagine what it would have done even more if I'd have felt like there was this connection that she had? But that makes sense to me because she's a movie star. So who does she have her chemistry with? She has it with the camera, right? That's who she loves.
Which is brilliant.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, this show is so smart.
Okay, like skipping down to Jamie Lloyd being nominated for Best Director. I just can't even imagine if he doesn't win. I mean,
Right.
the fact that you could think out of the box so
Absolutely.
much. Okay, so that's not all, but they also do this thing at intermission, at end of intermission, top of act.
Yes.
Yes, where
The title song, Sunset Boulevard, which is sung
you.
by Joe, which is kind of about, it's the theme of the show,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Sunset Boulevard, you know, how it's turbulent, one might say. And it follows him leaving his...
So he walks through, his dressing
room.
So he leaves the dressing room and he walks past, and I guess they do it different every night.
Every night.
So that, they have, one character making out in the background and somebody else smoking and somebody else doing this. Well, the night we were there, he walked past it, he like patted somebody, and then he turned him around and it was Andrew Lloyd Webber.
And I'm like, he's here! And she's like, ah!
And so, I mean, it was like, that is not what we were expecting, right? And so that was pretty exciting. And then he does this thing where he walks out of the theater and he walks down the street, and there are people lined up on both sides because they know he does it every night. They do this every single night where he walks out, and then one by one the cast kind of joins him as he goes until he turns around and comes back in, and then we kind of see him coming in the audience door and making his way up on stage, and then everybody goes crazy because it's such a wild, inventive way of getting you into the second act. I mean, the brilliance of this director is like, I would love if I had just this much genius in my little finger. I just think...
Innovation.
Yes.
Because you're genius, but like he's innovative in a way that...
I mean, who thinks like that?
It was cool.
It was mesmerizing to
was
like,
cool.
yes, like once you got used to the fact that it was not normal,
Right.
and you got caught up with all the different elements that made it different.
Well, and the woman who was cast to be the camera woman, it's
Yes.
her track. She's an actress. She has no camera work.
Oh.
They actually cast an actress, and that is her track.
Oh.
So she has
Yeah.
probably the hardest track in the show.
Yeah.
Can you imagine too if you
And you're
were the
carrying this-
standby and had to go right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But she has to
Wow.
walk backwards. So that whole entire film moment,
Yes.
right? She's walking backwards, and she has a guide that keeps their hand on her shoulder. So because she's walking backwards through Times Square,
I mean,
having
Any of you who've been to Times Square know that walking backwards is not necessarily you want to do.
Yeah.
They're clearing the
Yeah,
path
and
out
there's
for
two
her.
bodyguards
She
on
goes,
either
yeah.
side of the guy.
And it's crazy. It's like if I had another night there, I would have wanted to park myself outside that theater just for that moment because I thought it was iconic.
It was so cool
and great. And of course at the end of the show, Andrew Lloyd Webber came out, and so we were like, he really is here, because sometimes you're not really sure that it's like, did they change that part? Is that always here? We knew that the walking through the street was new every night, but we weren't entirely sure whether that part was live, but it was.
And Reba wouldn't pay $7,000 so we could go and meet Andrew Lloyd Webber. What a bad friend.
If I'd have paid $7,000, we could have gone and met with him. I did tell my husband that I did it, and he laughed at me because he knew I didn't really. He goes, "You did not." And I was like, "No, you're right. I did
It was a
not."
tax write-off.
I mean, they did that like live bidding thing, and
Yeah.
I was surprised how fast it went up to $7,000. It was a lot of fun to just be there for that moment.
It was.
So now we're going to flash forward and tell you that what we know about it since then is that it has been nominated for 7 Tony nominations. It was nominated for Best Revival of a Musical, Best Actress in a Lead Role, which we already said was Nicole, Best Director, which was Jamie Lloyd. It is the most nominated revival this season. It got more. Best performance by an actor in a lead role, which would have been Tom Francis.
Tom Francis, yeah.
Yes. And then I know you're like, oh, bro, put me on the spot. Best lighting design, which was Jack Knowles. Best sound design by Adam Fisher. And best orchestrations by Andrew Lloyd Webber and by David Cullen. So let's kind of just talk about those things, okay? Okay, so best revival, 100% deserves that nomination.
Absolutely.
Best director deserves to win.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's talk about some other things first. Best lighting.
I thought the lighting
was really cool.
Yeah, they had a lot of machines on either side that had lighting.
Kind of like the lights on a truss of a...
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then it had a fog machine attached to either one and a fan, so they could not only control the light, but also the amount of mist or fog with that. So then there was a lot of how the light hits the smoky aspect.
Which is cool. Which is really important, again, because, again, we don't have a really big set, and they're not playing to each other. They're playing to a camera. So, that, it's just different. It's just different. So, and then best sound design. What do you think about that?
I mean, it sounded great. Yeah. It has to be hard to control the sound when they're outside.
Yeah.
And I felt like it didn't impact
No, I
anything.
agree with you.
So I don't know. I'm sorry, sound people. That's not my forte.
Yeah. And then the last thing then is to come back to Best Actress.
And actor. I mean,
Oh, yes, we do. Let's talk about him first then. So he grew on me. Like, I don't think that from the moment he started, I really loved him.
Yeah.
I feel like it really was kind of the second act that kind of happened for me. But I think that it's because I didn't get any of this.
Yeah.
And we think that the part of Betty was played by Grace Hodgett Young, and we didn't necessarily love her, but we know that she's got a resume, and we feel like maybe she was sick that night, and maybe because Andrew Lloyd Webber was there that night, and he's not usually there, that they allowed her to go on so she could perform for him. That's what we think, because we can't imagine. She couldn't hit some of the notes, and we heard her on the track, right? You played her on
She sounded
Spotify
great
or
on the
something.
track.
And she sounded great, which makes us think that she didn't feel good that night. But anyway, he plays opposite of her in several key scenes as well. And because she wasn't really giving him anything back, I felt like that really held his performance back for me personally.
I think he's a flawed character too at the beginning, and he grows on you because he's really like he's running away from people who he owes money to. He's using this woman who used to be a star to get ahead. So I don't know how much
so maybe
I want a champion for him at the beginning too.
Yeah. So maybe that's all it. But anyway, I think he deserves the nomination. I don't know if he'll win, but I think he deserves the nom.
I did think it's cool that he starts in a body bag. So you do know he will die.
Yes.
It's not a surprise, but usually...
I mean, that is really cool.
Literally, it starts. There's a body bag in the middle, and then he unzips it and comes out of the body bag and starts the show singing. It's
by the time you get to the curtain call at the end, when they're like stepping all over the puddle of blood. On the floor, it's like, I was actually more interested in, is anybody gonna fall on that? Because that's kind of a big puddle of blood.
It was.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So let's talk about Nicole then.
I did not. I mean, I knew I'd like her. I did not know I would.
I mean,
2 standing ovations.
People
in the middle.
She acted down to the tips of her toes. Absolutely. She did not wear shoes in the show, and so we could see all the way down to her toes. I am not kidding you. I just have no words to tell you about her performance. It was incredible. I'm so happy. I mean, I feel like I said that about the vocal chops of Lea Michele when we saw her at Funny Girl. So I feel like I've said that before. I can honestly say I have never seen any actress perform like she did.
And her voice was fire.
I'm so glad I get to see her in person and do this.
Absolutely. Well, I used to want to... Norma Desmond's on my bucket list. And I don't think it's on my bucket list anymore. I don't think.
I cannot do that.
I can't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's wild to think how talented she is. And she has to be one of his new muses because I think she got a little flack when she was Grisabella in Cats, because I love Cats. And she sang Memory, and I heard she was phenomenal. And then she does this, and then I got to see it live, and I'm like, oh, she's a force.
Yeah.
She's a force. She was meant to do this.
She was meant to do this. It's like if anybody ever gives her any flack for saying she is not talented, she's just a pussycat doll.
Nope.
Nope. She will have two people here taking up for her, for sure.
I think she should win.
But it went from being something I wasn't looking forward to something that I would highly recommend to all of you. You need to go see this show. It's incredible. What would you rate it?
I think I walked out being like 8.5. I think 9 now.
I think I walked out saying 8.
Yeah,
and
you did.
And you're like, can I give it 8.5? But I think that,
pushing it up.
Things change. Like when you know how they sit with you and whether you're like thinking about it afterwards. And so the emotional experience is one thing, but when you actually analyze it and sit and think about it, sometimes you come away with a higher number. I think I'll give it a 9. It's just the creativity.
Cool.
So I think we're both solid 9s, which is pretty good.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's a little what do I want to say? Not gruesome, but it's got some darker elements to it. So I do think that there needs to be a little bit of a rating on it, so that if you were taking your young kid, you might want to just check it out to see whether that was something that you feel like they can. So if you don't want to see this, mute it for a second. But at the end, she's covered in blood. And that might be a little hard for some kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I also resonated with some of the themes because it's about aging. Somebody who used to kind of maybe be
the beautiful,
or like you get those types of roles in the theater, and then you have to be like, okay,
I'm not that anymore.
and that's okay. But for her, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's not okay,
Yeah, 100%.
But I ain't getting any younger.
None of us are.
But we are ready for our close-up.
Mr. DeVille. I like, too, that they had, because some of the iconic things about it is definitely the eyes, like we were talking about before. And so I did like that even though he took such a different approach to it, he did give us the eyes. I mean, I just feel like that was really important to be able to highlight it because of the way he did it with the screen. It was just really brilliant.
I loved it.
I loved it too. So hopefully if you would like to see more reviews like this, you will take a moment to follow us, tell a friend about what they can see here on this channel, and even take a moment to ring the bell and get notified so that you never miss any of our content. But until next time, this is just me
And me.
talking to you from the wings.